Do you want to improve at a quicker pace? Check out the GitGud Course. Instead of just understanding concepts, you'll learn how to implement them directly into your driving. What makes it effective is the approach and practical drills. Together, we're gonna focus on breaking down those complex concepts into small digestible bits that are simple to understand. Everything from the course was tested and refined during the years in coaching sessions, so what I ended up with was the ones that I saw were the most effective. Let's elevate your racing skills together. Now for the track guide. For turn 1, what I'm using as a reference for braking is this exit road on the left side. I want to brake where I'm very close to it, and I'm using a bit the left part of the curb to open up the corner. Depending on the setup, you might not want to use it. If you find that whenever you're turning, you're losing grip and the car gets that curb and it makes it a bit lazier to turn, then don't use the exit space. But I think with this car you can use it with most of the setups without having a disadvantage. So I'm braking at this exit road on the left, and I don't want to brake very hard initially. It's more importantly to trail brake for longer into this corner like this, because whenever you're gonna get very close to this yellow sausage curb, you want to put the power down immediately. What you want to do though, and this is a mistake in my lap, you want to meet the curb a bit later. So I turn in a bit too early for this corner, and as a result, I had this gap in my inputs. You want to drive in such a way that this gap won't be existing. The reason why I couldn't avoid the gap was because I was already very close to the curb, and if I would just trail brake for longer to fill the gap at this point, I will just hit the inside part and go over the curb, getting me an off track. So this was a correction, but it's not the ideal way to do it. You want to hit it just a bit later and then instantly put the power down. So I think here it's 1/10 of a second just because of this early turning point. Keep it in mind while you're doing your laps. Now for the next corner right here, you want to go just a bit on the left and then cut all the way through. You might do a small lift like I'm doing here, but what's a secret and let's say a key takeaway for this corner is that you have to put your right tires on this dirt part on the right side of the curb. There's a little space that you can use to hook the tire into that curb, and that action will give you more rotation and it will make your navigating this corner a lot easier without using that much of your steering wheel. So you will steer less while still rotating more. Just if you put your right tires on top of this one, so cut it like that, you will arrive all the way to the left. That's fine, because for the next corner we will open it up. The off-track limit is having the halo on this drain in the middle of the green and the red. So I'm putting my halo in the middle of it, and after the bridge, or under the bridge to be more precisely, I'm applying the brake. I don't want to brake very hard, but I want to trail brake a lot into this corner. This is a longer corner than it looks, and if you will apex at the beginning of this curve right here, you will run out wide and potentially will have to lift on the exit. On the exit, we just want to go 0-100% throttle. So what I'm doing, now I'm braking, now still trailing, still trailing, still trailing, still on the brakes, still on the brakes, late apex, still trailing, still on the brakes, and now I'm putting the power down. So you have to delay it a lot. It's a slight brake initially, you don't want to brake very hard, but then still trailing, and then when you put the power down, notice that it's 0-100 very quickly. You know you had a good corner if on the exit you will feel in the force feedback this rumble curb on the left side. So if the car gets pushed all the way to this curb, that's perfectly fine. For the next corner, I use as a reference for braking the moment that I straighten up my steering wheel, because I'm trying to bring the car from the left side to the right side as quickly as possible. And whenever I have the steering wheel straight, like for now, I have like a bit of angle to the left side, but after I straighten it up, instantly I'm applying the brakes. This is my braking reference, the moment that the steering wheel is straight. I'm not braking that hard, and it's very easy to lock up the left inside tire here. So you want to brake softly, but you want to stay in third gear. Second gear, Okay, you can push it a bit more, but I think third gear is going to be quicker overall just because the minimum speed is going to be higher. You want to clip this curb like that. It's very important to touch it and then to put the power down and use all the track on the exit. Next corner can be a bit difficult. The first thing that you have to do to gain like a small advantage while you go into this corner, at this point you don't want to stay all the way to the right side. Instead, you want to go diagonally towards the next corner. So looking that I'm aiming at this kink in the white line around here where the mouse pointer is. I'm bringing the car to this point first, and now I'm going diagonally back to this curb right here. Because if you're gonna stay all the way to the right side from the last corner to this one, you will travel a longer distance. When I arrive at the beginning of the curb, the white part of the curb, I'm applying the brake, and I don't want to brake too hard. I want to keep the minimum speed rolling, so I'm barely touching the brakes and downshifting to fourth. As in previous corner, it's very important to clip this curb. You will go more in a straight line instead of going like a snake in essence. You want to make your corner as straight as possible because the car is going to have a lot more speed if you can keep it straight. So trying to keep as straight as I can, and I will land on this part right here. Now what's important here firstly is to arrive into this position, because this means you carried a lot of speed from the previous corner, but the challenge here will be to avoid this yellow sausage curb. So the moment that I'm at this point, I'm already steering to the left because I don't want to go into this curb. It will unsettle too much the car, so I'm barely avoiding it. But that's how you know you're very close to the limit. And into this high-speed corner, you have to turn late for this corner. The secret in this corner is to turn at the end of the curb. So right now I can still feel the curb under me, but notice that I'm all the way to the left side. I'm almost touching the grass. For high-speed corners, two important things: late turn in and using all the track. Every inch of the track is gonna give you a huge advantage into corners like this where apexing precisely is critical to gain lap time. So I'm turning at the end of the curb. See, I'm really pushing the turning point here, and I want to apex after the yellow sausage curb. So not in the beginning, but in the end. You see here, it's mostly in the middle right now. Ideally, it will be much more closely to the end like this. It's almost the end because I'm touching it around here, but that is critical. A lot of mistakes in this corner happen whenever you're touching this curb initially around here. If you touch it around here, it's gonna be way too early. So you have to force yourself to touch it a bit later, even do a small lift to make sure you won't get the off track. I could have got flat out here, so I was just taking a bit more margin of error. Going into the next corner, braking point for me is the 50-meter board. So at the 50, I'm applying the brakes right now. Super important here to brake hard and downshift as quickly as you can. If you're not gonna downshift quickly, 50-meter board is not gonna work for you. So downshift as quickly as you can. I'm picking 100% initially, but then instantly dropping it. So it's more like a triangle shape for braking. And in third gear, you wanna stay tight up until this curb. You can even touch it. And the moment that you touch, you're gonna go 0-100% throttle in one motion. In the next corner, I'm bringing the car all the way to the left, so I'll add this green part right here to open up the next one as much as possible. Whenever I arrive at the green, I'm just downshifting to third and trail braking. I think you can do it in fourth gear with the trail brake, but you have to be very precise on apex because this is almost like a double apex corner. You want to touch it initially here and then track out a bit wider and then touch it again. So you see, in my case, I was very tight all the way to the corner just because I think the downshift to third gear from fourth slowed me down unnecessarily. So this was not ideal. I think you have to go a bit wider. And for the last corner, what's important here is to use all the track. So you have to be quite precise in your positioning. You want to have your left tires kissing this yellow sausage curb. If you barely kiss it, it won't unsettle the car. And whenever you turn into the corner, I'm doing a small lift and then going back. You want to apex as late as you can, use all the track on the exit, and in short, that's a track guide of the SF Lite on Barcelona. I hope you have a great week ahead, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.